There is a lot of debate in our industry about whether you should commit to specific results or not. Where should be the gauge? Should you guarantee results, or should you actually not promise anything because there are too many factors, too many things at play? And I think that it gets a little sticky. It's a question that it's a little fuzzy and sticky because we see this question as probably direct or black and white. But what if there would be a way to, price your services and look at the money and look at what you're going to do and charge based on certainty or uncertainty for results, right? I'm going to use a metaphor that I use very often here at MetaHelm, because MetaHelm has a nautical theme embedded. That's when I started this company. I always thought about a journey and a compass. And I'm a sailor too. And so, say you would want to help somebody to go from one coast to another, or one island to another. You would have, and say imagine you are an experienced sailor because you've been to from that coast to the other many times, and you know the sea and the waves and the current and the weather, and you know a great deal about that journey. But this person will do that journey for the first time. You could help that person in many different ways. Maybe you're um, you could just give some advice, some high-level guidance, what to expect, for instance, and where some rocks might be, and how much time it will take, and how much food to take, and so on. In that case, how much is your help tied to results? Probably just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Therefore, how much should you charge for that advice? That's a question mark, and we'll try to, I don't know, it's up to you to decide, but I'll try to give you some pointers to carry that reflection. Now, another way you could help the person go from one coast to the other is by taking them on your own ship. Say you have your own ship and offer a full service, guaranteeing almost that I'll get to the coast at a safe time, at a given time, and guarantee that they'll be there safely and with a beautiful view, maybe. Well, maybe that service there has a lot more value or a lot less value, because in the end, who decides the value of your service? Is it you? I hear a lot of people say, well, I want to charge more because I'm worth it, because I see the value and the value I provided. I see it. And if it were me, I would pay a lot of money for this. And they hear their colleagues and their friends and their family say, oh my gosh, you deliver so much value for these people. You should charge more. But value is in the eye of the beholder, especially the person who will pay for that value. So who's the beholder of of the values that you're delivering? It's your client, the person you take from the coast A to the coast B, island A, island B, or wherever. So success by definition is also something that should be defined by the person who's going to see the value. You're not there to dictate success. You should take a moment to help even your client define what success looks like for them. And I'm always surprised, I'm always shocked when I ask this question. It's one of the first questions I ask anybody who is interested in working with me, and in any kind of capacity. Like, we're 3 years from today and you're very happy. What has happened that makes you so happy in that 3-year time frame? And they gave me their definition of what success looks like in 3 years from now. And I asked this question candidly because every time, although I'm a pretty specialized and focused, business, Every time I hear different things. For sure, there are common themes, money themes, personal growth themes, quality of life, team development, market positioning, market share. These are the big themes that always come. But in between those themes and inside those themes, there are so many variation of what success looks like for my clients. And similarly to you, and for my story of the sailor, success for the person going from one coast to the other might be expressed very differently. Some want to go fast. Some want to take their time. Some would rather pay more to learn and help you trim the sails or be on the deck 24/7 and be splashed by the waves. They want to be close to the elements. Some of them rather be safer than others and so on. There are so many different ways to define success for crossing a channel or crossing a path. The same goes for your clients. So success is a very subjective thing, is a very relative thing, is similar to value. Value is very, 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 very relative, very, very subjective too, because like I said, value is in the eyes of the beholder. And we always make that mistake. We want to impose our view of value to our clients. And that's because we have to run a business based on specific rules and principles and policies, and people want to know our pricing and so on. So we have to give them guidance. And, sometimes we are tempted to, price the same thing for everybody else, for everyone the same way. When in reality, some people would be more than happy to pay more for the same thing and less, more or less, depending on, their view of success and their view of value. A great example of that, by the way, is airlines. Did you ever realize that? Did you ever notice? You probably noticed that airlines are so good at offering. They all offer the same thing, basically. And everybody that gets on the same airplane will get the same outcome, going from airport A to airport B safely and in a timely manner, in a time frame that is hopefully very predictable. But some people will pay 10, 20, 30 times the price that some others pay in the same airplane, just because the treatment, the service, the leg room, the food, the music, and so on are different depending on where you sit in the airplanes. And people will be able to afford more or less. And even those who can really afford like the highest quality, nicest seat, even with a suite now in those luxury airplanes, will not necessarily value this. They'll probably value saving their money for other things and will prefer to fly standby and pay a fraction of the price against the risk of missing the flight or not getting on the flight because their seat is standby. So defining success is I think is a critical thing to do because it ties to ethics. It ties to authenticity. At the beginning of a relationship, a business relationship, it is your role as a service provider to help your client define success and assess what value they will find, they will hold in their view. What value will they find in your services? And yet I see so many people shortcutting this step because so many people, so many of my peers, at least, so many people in our industry, service providers, who, by the way, claim to be really authentic and have a high degree of compassion and integrity and have human-centered value. But the first sin that they will commit is to bypass success definition because they're in a hurry to close the deal. They want to make money and they want to charge more. And all sorts of other reasons. They're in fear. They live in fear of the reality of what their clients will decide. So spend some time defining what success looks like. Here is how I do it, and how how I actually challenge my clients to, and invite my clients and push them to really, really think about this. Once we have, because it's a collective conversation, it's a collective effort. By the way, it's a collaborative thing. It's an interaction. It's a conversation. Once we have that figured out, we translate this into very specific metrics. We want to be able to prove that we've achieved success together. We want to be able to demonstrate it, black and white. We want to be able to show and to see without judgment, but just facts. So, objectively, if we've achieved success, what success looks like. That's something I always do with my clients. Something I invite you to do with your clients. Some people tell me when I present this idea to them, they say, well, I run offers, I run services where it's really, really hard for my clients and me to really, really understand the connection and the relationship between what we did and the success they will achieve. Like, for instance, if you provide SEO, search engine optimization services, it probably will be easy for you to connect the dots between the work that you did, the SEO optimization, and the traffic, and maybe the amount that your client is going to end up making, will end up the revenue they will end up generating. But if you offer group programs or teaching or learning, the connection is a lot harder, right? So it's a lot more difficult to establish pricing based on a direct correlation with success. So we'll have to go about this differently, another way. And why is that? It's because your advice is basically, your guidance, your work is discounted by the fact that you're not guaranteeing that success. You're not guaranteeing the outcome. You're giving tips that are subject to interpretation, misinterpretation sometimes, and that are also essentially subject to your client's willingness and ability to apply the advice. So you can't charge the same thing. And that's the name of the game. Another person will take your advice and they will really, really implement it, by the book, and they will be vastly successful. And that's okay. And that's the game you're playing in that business model. So I hope this encourages you, to really look at success, in a different way. That this gave you some ideas to redefine what success really means for your business, and to dig deeper. That's especially important if you claim to want to build an authentic firm, and a firm that defends the values of integrity, a firm that operates on foundational and core and ethical values of fairness and transparency. Defining success together with your clients is an act of honesty, of transparency. That's the first thing you should do, and do it for them, do it for yourself, and do it for everyone you serve and everyone you're surrounded by and your impact. All right. I hope this was helpful. And as always, I welcome your comments and questions. Thank you.